Donald Trump's cabinet and MAGA Republican leaders were cracking under pressure during the weekend shows when they had to explain why it was that electricity prices and groceries and other products people are buying, why the prices are surging right now. You know, like Donald Trump on the campaign, he promised that he was going to bring down electricity prices 50 to 70% in the first year. He said it's a promise. He says everything he promises is true. By the way, I have the receipts of that. So why don't I show you that before going through the video of all of these MAGA Republicans spiraling and lying? Let me just start off with the receipts as we bring here on the MeidasTouch Network. So this was Donald Trump back in Asheville, North Carolina. He's given a speech right here, and he says that he's going to reduce electricity prices 50 to 70%. He guarantees it. This was during the campaign, August 2024. All of the MAGA accounts posted it. This was one of his big promises. So you'll hear him say it in his own words. Here, play this clip.
By contrast, I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. And if it doesn't work out, you'll say, oh, well, I voted for him. I still got him down a lot. But we're looking to do it. We're looking to cut them in half, and we think we'll be able to do better. And every single thing that I promised, I produced. Every single thing. You will never have had energy so low as you will under a certain gentleman known as Donald J. Trump. Have you heard of him? So we think your energy bills will be down by 50 to 70%. How good would that be for a thing called inflation?
Okay, well, now that I showed you that clip, here is what Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said when he was on ABC's This Week, and George Stephanopoulos said, well, you know, electricity prices are going up. I mean, your electricity bills are far higher right now under Donald Trump than they were a year ago, right? I mean, that's an undisputed fact. But now Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and the Trump regime says Trump never promised it. This is a state issue only. States handle the electricity prices and their grids. We have nothing to do with it, so you can't blame us for it. Here, play this clip.
The president says, he just had posted this morning that there's almost no inflation. The consumer price index is higher than it was in the beginning of the year. Electricity rates are rising. So are prices for coffee, beef, vegetables, televisions. And it's not just me. It's not just economists who are saying that. Your own Republican members of Congress are saying that, including Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's look.
I go to the grocery store myself. Grocery prices remain high. Energy prices are high. My electricity bills are higher here in Washington, D.C. at my apartment, and they're also higher at my house in Rome, Georgia, higher than they were a year ago. So affordability is a problem.
How do you respond to Congressman Greene?
Well, George, what I would respond to is electricity prices are a state problem. And, you know, I was very interested to see in the earlier clip where the governor-elect of New Jersey said, well, I'm going to bring down energy prices. Well, it was her predecessor, Phil Murphy, who took them up. So, you know, look, there are things that the federal government can control. Local electricity prices are not one of them, but, you know, energy prices, gasoline prices are way down. And, you know, we are doing what we can every day. I think we are on a very good path to bringing prices down.
You know, it kind of reminds me of when Donald Trump promised he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Remember when he promised that he would stop Russia's invasion in 24 hours? I'll just show you a clip of that. Here, play this clip.
End the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I do.
How would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well. I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. I will get the war ended. I'll stop all of those lives from being wasted and lost, and there'll be no more bombing of Ukraine.
And of course, now Donald Trump says he was just being sarcastic, that it was all one big LOL, like it's a joke, like he didn't really mean it. I'm going, why would he mean that? He's a jokester. He jokes about war, ha ha ha, while people die. What a sick human being. But here he is saying that he was being sarcastic. Here, play this clip.
I'm not understating the complexity of all this, but as a candidate, you said you would have this war settled in 24 hours.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that. I would. What I really mean is I'd like to get it settled, and I think I'll be successful.
What's the plan if Putin doesn't agree to a ceasefire?
Bad news for this world because so many people are dying. But I think he's going to agree. I really do. I think I know him pretty well, and I think he's going to agree.
And then you have all of Donald Trump's economic leaders and other cabinet members going on the morning shows and just saying that because of the shutdown, that's why the economy is now going to do bad. And so you have, for example, Kevin Hassett, Donald Trump's top economic advisor, saying, yep, the economy's going down now. Here, play this clip.
Which is why we have to get this government open. I mean, the fact is Goldman Sachs, they have a top economic team, and they're estimating that we've already knocked about 1.5% off of GDP. I think that number is probably low if we keep going even a couple more weeks, because there's going to be a massive amount of air disruption, especially around the holidays. And, you know, one of these things every now and then when we're talking economics, you and I, we talk about seasonal adjustments and things like that. But the fact is that Thanksgiving time is one of the hottest times of the year for the economy. It's, you know, Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. Right. And if people aren't traveling at that moment, then we really could be looking at a negative quarter for the fourth quarter.
And going back to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, when he was asked by Stephanopoulos, so are we starting to see a permanent impact on the economy? And then Bessent's like, we had a roaring last 2 quarters. Everything was great. People were living in the golden age. And you see now they're suffering, and it's because of the shutdown. No, people have been suffering the entire year. Inflation's been rising the entire year. Unemployment and jobless claims have been at the highest levels since very, very, almost in history. Consumer confidence, the lowest readings basically in history. Here's what Bessent says. Here, play this clip.
Heard about all these impacts from the government shutdown right now. Are we starting to see a permanent impact on the economy?
Sure, George, and good to be with you. And we've seen an impact on the economy from day one, but it's getting worse and worse. We had a fantastic economy under President Trump the past 2 quarters, and now there are estimates that the economic growth for this quarter could be cut by as much as half if the shutdown continues. And what your correspondent didn't talk about there, George, was there's, of course, the human cost, and we're going to have the busiest travel day of the year, the day after Thanksgiving. And Americans should look to 5 Democratic senators to come across the aisle to open that. But on the other side, there's also cargo is being slowed down. So, we could end up with shortages, whether it's in our supply chain, whether it's for the holiday.
Ever have one of those moments where your body reminds you it's not 25 anymore? Maybe it's the slower recovery after a workout, or the way your joints creak like an old floorboard. And don't get me started on how much worse it is in the winter. It's like my energy goes into hibernation. Aging is a reality for all of us, but our actions determine how we age. That's why I use Qualia Senolytic to help keep my cells healthy and my body feeling youthful. Zombie cells are real, and they're aging you. These senescent cells stop being useful, but stick around, draining your energy, slowing recovery, and making you feel older than you are. Qualia Senolytic helps your body fight back against aging. It's a powerful, clinically tested formula with 9 vegan, plant-derived compounds that support your body's natural ability to eliminate zombie cells, so you can feel sharper, stronger, and more energized. Take it just 2 days a month. That's all it takes. Take Qualia Senolytic for just 2 days a month and start aging better at the cellular level. After adding Qualia Senolytic to my routine, I noticed a real difference. My energy feels steadier, recovery is quicker, and mentally, I'm more dialed in. Experience the science of feeling younger. Go to qualialife.com/Meidas for up to 50% off your purchase and use code Meidas for an additional 15%. That's qualialife.com/Meidas MeidasTouch.com/Meidas for up to 50% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you. And thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode. And then they brought on MAGA Republican senators. Like here you have MAGA Republican Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma. Like, okay, Lankford, 300,000 Oklahomans, they're gonna lose their health care, and they're on Affordable Care Act plans. Their subsidies are going to skyrocket. Like, what are you going to do for them? Here, play this clip.
Senator, it's worth noting that 80% of these subsidies are actually going to help people who live in states that President Trump did win back in 2024, including 300,000 who live in Oklahoma.
In my state.
Yes.
Right.
Should those 300,000 Oklahomans be prepared for their subsidies to skyrocket or to potentially lose coverage?
Yeah, we're trying to find a way to be able to help. But again, remember, this is not the Obamacare subsidies. This is on top of the Obamacare subsidy. This is the bonus COVID plan that Democrats put in place in 2021 that they had expiring this year because they literally said this is a COVID plus up during the healthcare emergency. What we're saying is if we're going to get back into healthcare again, why are we talking about $40 billion just for that group? I've got 300,000 Oklahomans that are receiving those subsidies, but I've got 4 million Oklahomans total that are struggling under the high cost of health insurance. What are we doing for that?
And then you have Lee Zeldin, Donald Trump's EPA director. Like, this EPA wants to also roll back the regulations on asbestos. Like, they don't believe climate change is real. But what he wants to talk about is penises and vaginas. And he goes, the Democrats believe in 100 genders. What are you talking about here? Play this clip.
Conservatives say there are 2 genders. Democrats are saying that there's 100 genders and counting and growing. But what's happened right now is that the Democratic Party chose to nominate a guy who is a socialist, who is a communist, who has talked about defunding the police and will absolutely set New York City back.
A notable point in the interview with Stephanopoulos and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, where Stephanopoulos said, is it true that Trump brought in trillions of dollars? And we know he didn't. I think the tariffs have generated revenue of about $200 billion. No trillion with a T. And watch Bessent go, we will do that in a number of years. We'll bring in trillions. Donald Trump said 22 trillion. And Stephanopoulos should have pressed him on it. But of course, he just moved on. But what are we talking about here? We haven't brought in trillions of dollars at all. And just watch Bessent squirm here. Play this clip.
Tariffs in the Supreme Court. The president is also posting about tariffs this morning. He's saying people that are against tariffs are fools. We're taking in trillions of dollars. Is that true?
We have over the course of the next few years, we could take in trillions of dollars, George. But the real goal of the tariffs is to rebalance trade and make it more fair. Over time, and the president's goal is to bring back manufacturing to the U.S. For the past 2, 3, 4 decades, we have seen our manufacturing sector gutted. So what would happen over time is we would take in substantial money as factories come back to the U.S., as we're seeing now. I was just down in South Carolina at a rare earth magnet plant and a Boeing plant on Friday. And, that's I believe 1,500 total new jobs. Tariff income will be substantial, but then that will rebalance. The goal here, George, is to rebalance trade. So tariff income will be substantial at the beginning. It will come down, and then domestic tax revenues will climb as corporate taxes go up and all these high-paying jobs are created.
And then same part of that interview, Bessent then says, well, look, we're not really using the tariffs to generate revenue. What are you talking about? Trump says that every day. His whole thing is, we're making everybody so much rich. Everyone's going to be so rich because of this. Well, here, play this clip.
The president's main argument, though, seems to be that it's about taking in the revenue. And he also promised this morning a dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people. How is he going to pay that dividend of $2,000 a person?
It's not about taking in the revenue. It's about rebalancing. And the revenue occurs early on, and then as we rebalance and the jobs come home, then it becomes domestic tax revenue.
Are you worried that the president's focus on revenue, though, which is what he's been focusing on in his public statements, is going to hurt your argument at the Supreme Court?
Not at all. It's completely consistent that the revenues come in at the beginning. Then as we rebalance, which is the goal of this, bring back high-paid manufacturing jobs to the U.S., then it will then morph into domestic tax revenues.
So just so you see him, you heard him in his own words right there, right? Then they bring on Sean Duffy from the Real World Road Rules Challenge, who's now the transportation secretary. And one of the things that he says is that flying, he's going to blame the shutdown for all flying issues in the future, regardless of the shutdown ending. He goes, because of the shutdown, now all of my staff is retiring and no one wants to work in air traffic control. That's because of the shutdown. What are you talking about? We all know that you fired all of these people on day one. Like you've made their lives, you've psychologically tortured these hard-working airline worker, people who work in airports, and the air traffic controllers. Here, play this clip.
The problem I have too is, as you know, I'm short air traffic controllers. I'm trying to get more air traffic controllers into the towers and be certified, but I'm about 1,000 to 2,000 controllers short. And so I paid experienced controllers to stay on the job and not retire. I used to have about 4 controllers retire a day before the shutdown. I'm now up to 15 to 20 a day are retiring. So it's going to be harder for me to come back after the shutdown and have more controllers controlling the airspace. So this is going to live on in air travel well beyond the time frame that this government opens back up.
And then Jake Tapper says, do you have any numerical idea of how many Americans will not be able to see their families in Thanksgiving? Let's play this clip right here.
So you talked about Thanksgiving. Do you have any sort of numerical idea of how many Americans will not be able to be with their families for the holiday because of this?
I think the number is going to be substantial. Again, you look at the trend line, Jake, and it's only gotten worse as we've gone through the shutdown. We're day 40 now. And, you know, we saw the largest number of outage of controllers was on Halloween, the 31st. Those numbers were 61. Yesterday it was 81. And the controllers that I've talked to said a lot of them, we can miss 1 paycheck. They told me that virtually none of them can miss 2 paychecks. And so they're going to be confronted with the idea of, as you mentioned, going to get a side job, a second job to make ends meet, to put food on the table, put gas in the car, to pay their rent. And a lot of these controllers who are young, Jake, they don't make a lot of money. They're just getting into the business of being an air traffic controller. So they make less than $100,000 and they live in a really expensive place. They're the single income earner and they have a kid or 2 at home. It's very challenging.
And I just think that perfectly and unfortunately sums up this regime right here in every single way. And there's a reason that people booed Donald Trump. I mean, at the Commanders game, at the NFL game, this guy is loathed and hated, you know, and we need to see strong Democrats. I'm sick and tired of this weak crap. This guy is so unpopular. You know, I need to see Democrats more like Governor Newsom. I need to see fighters like Bernie Sanders. Fighters. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.